Hey everyone, let's break down today's geopolitics and what it means for the markets, especially US dollar to Canadian dollar. We're seeing three big geopolitical drivers right now. First, the Ukraine conflict remains unresolved. Ongoing fighting and Western military aid keep commodity prices elevated, especially oil and natural gas. That generally supports the Canadian dollar, since Canada is a major energy exporter. Second, tensions in the Middle East have flared again. Any escalation tends to push investors into safe haven assets like the US dollar and gold, while boosting oil. Think of it as a seesaw. More conflict, dollar up, oil up. Loonie gets a mixed signal. Third, U.S.-China relations are still strained. Trade disputes and tech restrictions add to global uncertainty. When U.S. policy looks hawkish, the dollar often strengthens, which can weigh on the loonie, especially if Canadian exports to China slow. On the monetary front, the Federal Reserve has held rates near 4.5%, signaling they're in no rush to cut unless inflation drops sharply. Meanwhile, the Bank of Canada paused at 2.75% last month, but hints at cuts later this year if growth cools. That interest rate gap keeps US dollar to Canadian dollar elevated. Putting it all together, with global risk still skewed toward caution, the US dollar remains the primary beneficiary. Commodities bolster Canada, but higher US yields and ongoing geopolitical shocks are stronger forces right now. Here's the bottom line for US dollar to Canadian dollar. We expect it to trade around 1.36 to 1.38 in the near term. If Middle East tensions flare further, or US policymakers sound hawkish, it could spike toward 1.39. On the flip side, any breakthrough in Ukraine peace talks or softer US inflation data could ease the dollar and bring it back toward 1.34. Longer term, watch three things. Fed versus BOC policy divergence. Any surprise cuts or pauses will move the pair. Oil price swings. Supply shocks lift the loonie. Demand fears hurt it. Major geopolitical events, elections, summit agreements, or conflict escalations can trigger big moves. Keep an eye on those, and you'll be ahead of the US dollar to Canadian dollar curve. Thanks for watching. See you next time.